Yeah,
No,
how
no,
do we
no,
want to
no,
do this?
this.
Are we going to have everybody on at once and then I direct traffic, or are we going to have
I
like
don't know.
groups?
If anybody knows me, Kyle especially, he's going to know that I like having this stuff all perfectly planned out and stuff, and this is
And
not
Nick
going to be
Nick
that
did
for
not
right
leave a
now.
plan.
No,
Well, what?
because yeah. So Paul, if you can share the draft
Yes.
board, that's
Let me
the
do
main
that
first
right
thing. But
now.
basically, what this is going to be, mock draft with a bunch of pictureless people. There's a million people sitting backstage now, and we're just going to kind of watch a mock draft go through, bring some people on to talk about picks, and Paul's going to kind of guide the ship. I'll pop people in and out, and that's about it. Let's see. Next stage.
There we go.
Perfect. Alrighty.
So I got the second pick here.
All right.
So I know some of these names. I don't know them all. Who is A. Tucker?
That's a good question. I don't know who's in the draft. I don't
Okay.
know very much about any of this.
Kyle
I don't know if I'm a
Bland,
person who
Pete
should be running the handoff
Fitzgerald,
or not.
Stubinger, I saw him earlier. Jake Crumpler, Nate Schwartz, Ben Pernick, Rick Graham, Scotty Chu, Ben Palmer, and Jake Metzler. I believe I have that name right. A. Tucker, pardon me, I do not know your name, but I'm happy to meet you soon.
Yeah, at least
Octobox, we'll do it live. I mean, I can direct traffic if everyone wants to be in here.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure we can
Like that
do I mean,
is
Nick's not here.
doable.
We can just start adding people and just see what happens.
And swearing.
I don't know about that, but we can start adding
I
people.
would never. Anthony Tucker, very nice to meet you. And Patrick Fitzgerald.
I mean, do you want me to just
You
start
know,
throwing people on stage? Let's see how many people we can fit.
I mean, yeah, but can we fit all 12? I guess would be the first question. I guess
There's
13 with
Kyle,
you. Hello, Kyle.
Ben,
Yo, how's it going, everybody?
Hello,
Rick,
hello.
Hey, what's up?
Nate.
Hello, hello.
Oh, yeah, look at this. It's getting so
gosh.
crowded.
Oh, and Patrick at the very bottom.
Is that
Alrighty.
everyone?
Yeah. However y'all want to do this, I don't know. We were left no instructions. We have full reign of what we want to do. I'll hop out for sure. I'm
We
not
should all
involved.
talk. Let's all talk over each other.
Let's do it.
I mean,
Three,
that will be great.
two.
I love that these aren't labeled. That won't be awful at all because I'm just supposed to know everyone's face
See,
and name.
This
Fantastic.
is where the
yeah.
prep part that I have. This is where you have the nice frames with the name tags. Everybody knows who's
Right.
who. This is just the wild, wild west.
Thanks, Nick. No, I'm just kidding. Nick, have a wonderful time. We'll
wait.
do it live, as
Another one.
the never great Bill O'Reilly once said. We'll do it live. Freaking thing sucks. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pitcher List PitchCon mock draft. We got a 12-team 5x5 head-to-head. So categories head-to-head. Definitely a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I'm used to 5x5 roto, but still 5x5. So first, I'm going to talk with you, Kyle, about the league share that you play versus head-to-head versus roto. How many leagues do you play in general, by the way?
I probably play in about 5.
Okay. And then what kind of
So
split
decent
are you
mix.
looking at between head-to-head and roto?
It's pretty much kind of an even split, so like 3 and 2. Dynasty, definitely. I have a couple dynasties, and those are all roto. And then the head-to-head is more kind of redraft leagues, and one of my home leagues.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm almost exclusively roto right now, so I'm excited to draft for a head-to-head because it is definitely a little different. You know, they were talking earlier, I forget which one it was, maybe Bubba and Bloom, about how certain players are worse for head-to-head, such as like an Ellie De La Cruz. Think of what he was doing to folks down the stretch last year with,
Yeah.
I mean, by doing nothing, no power, limited steals. But yeah, those kind of ebb and flow guys that can get really hot for multiple weeks at a time, but then go ice cold. In Roto, you don't care. Just get to the end of the season and let me know what your finish line is. But in head to head, there is something about consistency that you really want to be in tune with as much as you can. Cal, how do you grade consistency with players? It is very hard, and everyone is going to have bad streaks. But what do you look for when you're trying to grade consistency for head to head?
It's very hard, but I have actually taken a look at kind of the week-to-week variance for different stats, and I try and plug that in of like something like a guy will, average will kind of stay level, especially if you're looking at like a weekly scoring period. Like guys will usually be pretty good at average, versus like a rate that like ERA for a pitcher can get tanked in that week. So I tend to kind of weight things based on like how much a guy can help or hurt, and then I give more weight to like the extremes. So like your big stolen base guys, your big homer guys, or your super good ratio stat pitchers, I tend to kind of upweight those and avoid guys who are lacking in those, because I want to be able to like luck into being even better than to have to like luck into being average, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely makes sense. Let's go around the room a little bit here and talk a little bit about head-to-head strategy. Actually, when do we start? Do we have to, Josh, are you going to get us started, or do we have a timer or anything?
We're waiting on whenever.
We got a little bit of a delay here. We're waiting on Ben got logged out or kicked out of his Fantrex account, Ben Pernick. So we're waiting on him. Once he gets logged back in, we'll be ready to go.
Oh, okay, excellent. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk to a few others about kind of how you approach head-to-head, because it is vastly different than Roto, and I think it is, it is more popular. I run an NFBC centric. We kind of focus a lot on NFBC and Roto in general when we're talking fantasy. We got Ben Palmer. First off, again, I know a lot of y'all's faces. I don't know everyone's name, and I don't want to embarrass myself too much. Ben Palmer, raise your hand for a second. I want to make sure I got the right one. Yes, I knew that was you. Okay, so Ben. When you're playing, first off, do you play head-to-head in your portfolio? Do you play multiple leagues, first off? Very first question.
Yeah. I'm in probably 6 leagues. Just about all of them are head-to-head. I got 2 Dynasty, which are actually still head-to-head. So, yeah, I almost never play in Roto for whatever reason.
You're a head-to-head player then. And obviously then you're maybe not as in tune with the differences between how they valued in head-to-head and Roto. But again, I'll ask you that same question about the consistency piece, though, because I think it is so important in head-to-head to try to find guys as consistent as you can. In baseball, that's tough. Do you have any key factors that you look at to try to devise who will be consistent?
Yeah, so I tend to be more of a risk-averse drafter in general, and I think that's because of playing head-to-head a lot. Because a lot of these guys, your Noelvi Martes or your Cedane Rafaelas, these are guys who will be like the best hitter in baseball for a month, and then they won't be rosterable for a month.
Right.
And like that at the end of the year, like in Roto, that's not a big deal. But in head-to-head, like that can suck for a whole month when they're hitting like 190 and they like sneeze out 1 home run in the entire month. That can really hurt you in head-to-head matchups. So I tend to shy away from some of those guys and kind of go for the more boring, consistent guys sometimes.
Absolutely. Again, because I just think, it's really hard to nail down consistency, but we definitely know some of those guys that are super volatile, and they will run electric hot top 10 on the player rater for 6 weeks, and then 300 on the player rater for 3 weeks when you need them most. So it is frustrating. Rick, when you're looking in head-to-head, specifically with closers, right, because they're kind of difficult to deal with, depending on what you're playing, whether it's categories or points. We're playing categories, so you do need saves. But I want to shift it to points, even though that's not what we're playing tonight. Do you ever devalue the big closers and just say, I'll get strikeouts and ratios from the great relievers, saves be damned, or be darned, sorry, Nick, when you're talking about non-save category head-to-head leagues?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, points. I mean, closers automatically, for me, get a little bit devalued in points leagues. I think even if you go your Roto leagues, you need the saves, so the closers are more important. Head-to-head, you still need saves, but you still want to get like a nice balance of ratios and some strikeout help. Yeah, points leagues, it's like, I'd rather, look towards, maybe the net setup guys with ratios. Typically, too, in points leagues, there'll be some sort of point value for a hold as well.
Right.
So you can wait on, getting your relievers. Griffin Jackson in the past was always a great option for those types of leagues.
He steals those wins too, because if they're going to be in leverage, they can steal the wins.
Right, a guy like Ronnie Henriquez last year.
Oh my God, he was insane.
Yeah, Edwin Uceta had a bunch of wins. Obviously, Adrian Morhone too had 12 wins last year. So
it's hard to know who
those huge.
Right? Like, you don't know who those guys are necessarily going to be going in, but if you can identify them early and you start to see that usage pattern of the high leverage in some of these points leagues, they can be better than the closer because they're just getting so many opportunities. Jake, how you doing today, by the way? Good to see you. Love what you're rocking there with that fit. You're smack dab in the middle of the draft here. Do you like being in the middle, or do you prefer one of the ends when you're drafting?
The extremes are, I feel like, a bit more intriguing. You can really have more of a draft strategy. When you're in the middle, you're sort of at the whims of how everybody else is drafting. Obviously, the first round, you can sort of figure out what you're going to get. But after that, you're just getting sniped left and right because there's so many picks in between your next one.
Yeah, it gets really frustrating. I like to be on one of the edges. You know, the downside there, of course, is you have to wait longer and you're going to watch a lot of your players go. But it just feels nice taking 2 picks back to back or out of 4 picks there and really kind of making a dent in the pool, especially if you're trying like a strategy where you're trying to drain the pool and take 2 from a position or something like that. So I'm not the biggest fan of the middle, but it is still, you know, you can win from anywhere. It's just a comfort thing when you're drafting.
Especially if you're in a slow draft. Like when we're doing TGFBI, having the back-to-back picks and just getting to wait the rest of the day and not have to worry about your picks is so nice to get 2 out of the way. It's
perfect. I could not agree more on that. Mark, good to see you, by the way. Nice to virtually meet you, and great job on your panel today. I enjoyed watching that. Are you a head-to-head player, or do you have a mix of Roto head-to-head, or what's your fantasy diet look like?
I'm about 50-50 on the Roto and head-to-head, mainly categories. I still have one lone points league, my home league. I cannot convince them to get off the ESPN points platform. But other than that, I'm about 50-50 on the head-to-head versus the Roto.
Yeah, and I don't mind. You know, I don't mind playing different places because you do kind of get to learn the different venues. You know, we're doing this on Fantrax. I mentioned that we do a lot of NFBC over at Sleeper in the Bus. But, you know, knowing the differences between ESPN and Yahoo, especially if you do have more of a fantasy portfolio. A lot of us play multiple leagues. Is anybody on this call a one-leaguer where you play just one single league? Or are we all degenerates? We're all degenerates. Okay, good. That's what I like to see that. John Metzler, can you raise your hand? I'm not sure if I can identify you by face. John, nice to see you and nice to virtually meet you. You're picking on the end. Do you like that? You got last pick there, so you get that double dip right away, and every 11 picks, you're taking 2.
Yeah,
every 13, I should say.
Honestly, I like the ends. I like being like maybe 1 or 2 picks from the end because I like the tension that comes with like waiting to see if somebody will snipe me. I know maybe I'm like, again, a bit of a degenerate in that sense, but yeah, I do like the intensity of that, and I feel like it gives you a little bit of a buffer to kind of plan things out a bit better. So
that's exactly how I feel with getting 2 picks so close, is that you can make bigger plans, especially if you're trying to make adjustments in draft. Okay, I got to go for this position. Let me this category. Let me double dip on it. And then that feels like you can really make a bigger dent picking from the elbow. Again, I am partial to picking over there. Let's continue to go around the room here. Nate Schwartz, I can definitely identify you. You are in the middle for me. I don't know how everyone else's setup is here. How you doing, by the way?
Doing great. Yeah.
It's great to be with you here. You are in the middle. I'll save you from the boring middle or end question, but I will give you the same boring Roto or head-to-head because I am always fascinated by people's fantasy diet. What is your split with the Roto and head-to-head?
I'm pretty split. I think it's mostly the kind of the industry leagues that have filled up and a dynasty league that have filled up my Roto niche. I know with TGFBI, with the Earth League that I'm in, it's those kind of more industry focused. People are more locked in than my home leagues, and with more kind of, you know, more casual groups, it ends up being the head-to-head. So it's a perfect dichotomy of strategies of where do I need to know the full season values versus can I take a shot in a draft that is, oh, well, if I lose, the only thing that really is going to happen is I'm going to get made fun of by some friends. Like it's
they're going to
worth
cook you.
The shots.
But it's absolutely worth it. Yeah, and I do like that. I've noticed that too, and I was actually going to ask you something similar right as you were answering. If you find that your head-to-head diet is more in your personal and casual, not even necessarily casual, but in your more personal leagues, that's what I find too, because I do think there's that extra camaraderie of going up against friends and people you know, where you can start to bring in the trash talk and start to have, you know, years-long memes and trophies and all that sort of stuff, which you can do in Roto leagues too, but with the head-to-head, it is, you know, it's like that fantasy football aspect of like, yo, I beat you straight up on the virtual field, as it were, and that's always fun. I do notice that more with head-to-head and personal leagues. Let's continue to go around the room. Patrick Fitzgerald, can you identify yourself with a little hand wave? Hello, good to meet you virtually. Uh-oh, we've been changed. Ben Pernick's out. We kicked him out. Josh, are you fixing him? Is he quitting the league because he got mad at you?
I'm adding Josh for now. We're replacing. We're putting Josh in. Ben will hopefully be able to join later. But yeah, he's having some issues with Fantrax, so Josh will take his spot for now.
No problem. We will get started here shortly then as we're getting that change done. Patrick, back to you though. How you doing, and how is your Roto versus head-to-head diet?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here. I think recently have been skewing a little bit more towards roto, even though I kind of started head to head. Like a league with some college friends is head to head, and that's pretty competitive. But definitely getting into the NFBC a little bit more. So starting to get more comfortable with the roto format these last couple of years.
And then as you're kind of making that shift over, are you noticing different player evaluations? Is it just the sort of stuff that we've already talked about, where those super volatile Ellie De La Cruz types you maybe are going to go for more in roto than head to head, or have you noticed any other major differences as you've moved your diet a little bit more into the roto?
Yeah, I think speed and saves are definitely the big two, and then obviously the two catcher versus one catcher adjustment.
Yes, huge difference.
Is definitely kind of a shock to the system a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I go the other way because I am mostly two catcher league, so I'm always, dealing with the dregs of everything. And then I always, and I'm going to try not to do it tonight, but whenever I get in a one catcher league, I always end up drafting a catcher way too early and watching all these great catchers go like 7-8 rounds later. And I'm like, oh my God, I could have waited forever with these guys. Who have I not called on? John Metzlar. No, I called on John, didn't I? Did I call on John?
Yeah. You did, yeah.
Yeah, I did. So I called on Patrick, I called on Jake, I called on Mark, Nate, Kyle. We started with Ben.
Judgment one.
What?
Sporer, you're up.
Oh,
on the clock.
Oh, here we go. We are rolling. Aaron Judge goes number one. No huge surprise there. Nor is my pick going to be terribly surprising with Shohei. I guess I can't do a Q. That's not awesome for me, but that's okay. We're going to run with Shohei here as Kyle Bland goes. By the way, I'll go over the whole draft order here. We got Tucker leading off, and again, took Judge. I'm in the number 2 spot, Anthony Tucker. I had Anthony, but I almost said Aaron, and that would have been embarrassing. Anthony Tucker 1, Paul Sport 2, Kyle Bland 3, Patrick Fitzgerald's in the 4 spot, Mark Stubinger in the 5 spot, Jake Crumpler at 5, Nate Schwartz at 6, Ben Pernick, now Josh Sperry at 7, Rick Graham at 8, Scott Chu at 9. Do we have 11 or 12? Did I miss count somewhere? Anyway, Ben Palmer at 11, and then John Metzler at 12. I missed a count somewhere. Anyway, we got Juan Soto, Bobby Witt Jr., and Jose Ramirez going. Jake's coming. We got 1 minute per pick, so these are going to be quick. One thing I didn't ask, and I will just let, it's kind of bad not to call on somebody to start something, but I'll let it be a free-for-all. When you're making your foundation, do you lean hitter or pitcher in head-to-head, and does categories change that at all? Whoever wants to answer first.
Like first round pick?
No, like your first 3 or 4 picks, like your foundation of your team. Do you lean pitcher heavy? Do you go all hitters? Like, does head-to-head change that at all, either versus roto?
The only head-to-head leagues
I don't.
Yeah, I should have called on someone. I'm a total a-hole for that. I'm sorry. I don't want to pick on anyone though either, so I don't want to be like asking somebody a question when their pick's coming up. So like I'll figure it out. But go ahead.
Yeah, I could jump in. I was just going to say the only head-to-head leagues I play in are the pitcherless leagues. So I usually will go pitcher heavy to start just to watch Nick have an emotional meltdown because it's so antithetical to everything he believes in.
I know. It's so funny, right? He runs pitcherless, and you won't find him anywhere near the stud pitchers.
Yeah, exactly. So I always have fun doing that. And I also feel like, especially in shallower leagues, you really have to get guys that are outliers in a lot of senses, and
yes, shoot for the moon.
Top, yeah, especially at the top of like the pitching chart, guys like Skeens, Crochet, you're probably not going to be able to build that in the aggregate later on. So sometimes it is beneficial to get those guys who kind of stand out in that particular area.
Yeah, and I tend to think that not that the risk of pitchers is overhyped, because obviously they are very risky, but using that as a reason not to go for them early, I don't really like it. Now, Nick's reason of not going for them because he loves to play in the middle and end of the pool and flex his knowledge, I totally understand. But I have no problem putting an ace on my team like a Scooble, Skeens, Crochet, Yamamoto, and then waiting a little bit to kind of fill out behind them. Those stud pitchers, they go such a long way. Of course, if they bust, sure, you're crying. But that's going to happen with any player. If they get hurt, you're not going to be feeling good. Scott Chu takes Kyle Tucker here. We got Ben Palmer picking up the 11th pick, and then John Metzler going to get his twofer. Big outfield run. We had Judge, Soto, Carroll, Acuna, J-Rod, Tucker, and Tatis. No huge surprise there, of course, because outfield, is
double pitcher, man.
Plentiful. Whoa! Skeens Crochet, right as we were talking.
Teed it up.
Yeah, there you go. He goes and gets 2 outlier pitchers. A man of his word there, John Metzler says, hey, sometimes I'll go for the extremes, and he gets Skeens Crochet. Excellent start there. I love that Tatis Caminero 1-2 punch as well. So now Skeens Crochet, obviously you don't have to give us your whole strategy here, but I'm going to imagine you're going to be putting pitching on the back burner there for a while after getting what you're hoping is about 360 amazing innings.
Oh no, I go all in. I go first 5 picks, pitchers.
You just spam it all the way and you just drain the pool, and then we have no pitching.
I feel like historically it's worked out for me. Last year it did not at all. I forget who some of my first few picks were. I think I might have had Garrett Cole somewhere in the beginning. So,
and that's the thing. You'll bust sometimes, but that doesn't make it a bad strategy.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it's a mock draft. To be honest, I probably haven't thought about baseball since Game 7 of the World Series. So it's just kind of fun to see how things play out when you go with a certain strategy. So.
Well, welcome back into baseball. I like to know how everyone kind of like, do they take any break? Do they get back in? We always talk about on the podcast, Sleeping the Bus, that we see things kind of change each week of the football playoffs. As more teams are eliminated, their fans start to come over. And then as the Super Bowl is done, the floodgates open up and then baseball has officially started. As we meander here through the second round, a little run on shortstops. 3 out of the last 4 picks, Lindor, Gunnar, and Ellie. I'm a few picks away here. I am going to pick on somebody here, not to pick on them, but just call on somebody. Jake, you just picked, so you won't pick for a little bit here. You didn't pick one of these, but I am curious your take on util only guys. I have one with Shohei, of course, but then Schwarber also went there in the second round. Are you afraid of them, or if they're good enough, just give me the stats and I can maneuver around not having a DH? How do you? And I know we have 2 here, but how do you feel about UT onlys just in general?
In general, they're somewhat limiting. I think that's pretty common sense when it comes to how limiting they are. They sort of lock in one of your roster spots and one of the most flexible roster spots in a utility role. So really just the elite guys are the only ones that I'm going to be targeting when it gets to somebody like a Giancarlo Stanton, who's you don't even know if he's going to be good enough to
50
to be
games,
on your
yeah.
team. Right. That's the type of guy I try to avoid. But when it comes to Schwarber or Shohei, I have no problem doing that. But once we get outside of those top few util only guys, it's really not worth it in my opinion because of how much they limit your roster flexibility, which is huge, especially in a league like this where you can edit your lineup daily.
Right, and not having that flexibility can be so difficult in season, especially if injuries start to pile up. Again, talk a lot about NFBC and they don't have IL spots, so flexibility is so important over there. Do y'all remember a few years ago? I can't remember now. It could be as much as 7-8 years ago, but there was like 7 or 8 util only guys, but a lot of them were really good. It was like JD was still cooking. It was of course Schwarber and Shohei as well. It was Ozuna, and then there's like 3 or 4 more. I can't even remember. It was a deep class of util only to the point where they were going like across the first 5 or 6 rounds. It was kind of crazy to see. We don't really have that many this year outside of Shohei and Schwarber. I can't even think of any that I would. Well, Alvarez, I guess he's kind of the. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like his knees are like 38 years old. He scares the
Yelich as well.
crud out of me. Yelich is util only now?
On Fantrax.
Oh, wow.
He is an NFBC too, yeah.
Wow, I missed that. I'm only getting my draft season started this week, so I have not dove all the way into the pool.
19 games in the outfield.
That's brutal.
Rip.
Or Ivan
my
Herrera.
Oh,
Ivan
That's a
Herrera's
good
a sneaky
song.
one. Because the double dip on second base is really sharp there because second base is dreadful, y'all.
I'm sure he wants Jazz at third though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he hurts us by
Right, exactly.
taking an extra second baseman.
Yeah, second base sucks.
It's so bad.
I was just looking at it and I was just like, God, the cliff.
Yeah, the
Really
clip we
after,
just
like,
hit it.
10
Honestly, just with that in mind, I'll take Bryce then.
Yeah.
I'll end it. Now nobody should pick one for like 6 rounds.
I'm gonna end up like
It's
I'm gonna end
over.
up with a nobody at second or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think somebody's going to draft Ray Durham tonight.
Ooh, good pull.
Thanks. My favorite thing to do is just name random baseball players.
Isn't that everybody's favorite thing to do?
It ought to be, right? I turned it into a job. My job at OOTP is basically doing that and then creating virtual cards based off of them.
Uh-huh.
The Ty Wigington name drop in the last panel.
Ty
was
Wigington,
very
Orioles
unexpected.
legend. Ty
That Orioles
Wigington.
legend. That's I created an OOTP card for him as an Oriole, and it's pretty good.
One of my favorite random names to remember to mention is, do we all remember Bill Hall and his one-hit
Oh,
wonder?
yeah.
Yes, it's funny. Again, I create all these cards in OOTP. There's an amazing Bill Hall because like we have tiers that go from like iron to perfect, so every tier can kind of have their own superstars, and Bill Hall is an iron superstar.
I just think it's so crazy that like out of nowhere he hits 35 home runs,
35 bombs,
and then bats like 270, and then it's just like, all right, that's good enough for me, and then just like stops being good. The rest is,
just like, yeah, I'm gonna
never
rip 35 one year.
Yeah,
why not?
it's like, hey, why not? It's sort of like. It's like that one year that Manny Machado stole 20 bases, and he's like, cool, I'll never steal a base again.
I tried it. It was cool, but no thanks.
Yeah, it's just like,
that's the thing. Like,
wanted to know I could do it.
Steals are so person driven, both manager and player. And
for sure.
speed matters, of course, but you do not need it. If the team is motivated, obviously Soto proved that to the high heavens last year, but like if the team and player are motivated, anyone can get 10 steals, and most guys can get 20.
Yeah, well, I mean, that year, I actually remember hearing an interview with Machado during spring training. He was like, I'm going to steal some more bases this year just to prove I can do it. And then
that's awesome. And he actually did it, yeah.
He was like, cool, I proved I could do it, and I'm not going to do it again.
One of those times where the spring news was actually a good signal. We chase a lot of that stuff, and sometimes the guys do, and sometimes they don't. But, yeah, that one actually panned out.
I mean, we're all hoping that Josh Naylor does it again, right? I think there's
I would
going to be a
love
lot
to
of
see
people
it.
Get
And
caught
then-
out dry if he doesn't. If he just is like, no, what, I'm done. I got my contract.
I guarantee some people are going to put too much stock in his, like they're going to count on him for like 20 or something, and he might come at you with 7 and really kill you. Speaking of utils, Scott Chu has filled up both of his with the Schwarber Jordan Alvarez back to back. So I guess I wouldn't need to ask him if he were on the call what he thinks of utils. He likes them. But both of his are full now. We do have 2 in this league, but both of his are now gone.
Boo.
And now we got John
Pocket
Metzlar, who did want to take
Oh
Brian
my
Wu
God.
there.
He
He'll
really
take
is.
Hunter Brown, and I think he was going to go Brown Wu
gonna do it?
and Max Fried. He was not kidding, folks. John Metzlar is a man of his word. He said
Insane.
It's a
he
madman.
was going to take 5 in a row, and we'll see when his 5th pick
Oh,
comes.
man.
I'll do it. You guys tempted me with all the second base talk. I thought about
I
it.
love
but
it.
You broke me
I mean,
out of the temptation.
I don't even know who I
4 beautiful pitchers there with Skeens, Crochet, Brown, and Fried. Obviously, we know what strategy you're taking, John. As Ben Palmer
They're good at
looks for
pitching.
his 4th pick.
I
Tatis
know.
Jr.
I was actually thinking about going back-to-back pitchers, too, and now I'm like, God. Yeah. Wait,
Well,
Nick's
that's the
not
fun
in
part
here.
of
It's past 8 o'clock. We can curse, right?
Well,
No, it's
I
9
will not be
o'clock.
responsible for that.
Plaid. All right.
9 o'clock was Plaid, right? In its heyday?
Oh yeah, and I guess it's only 8:33.
So
Eastern.
you know that I'm the one who came up with plaid, right?
Oh,
That was a pitch I had to Nick a long time ago, where I wanted to have articles that were only active on the site from midnight to or like 11 p.m. to like 5 a.m. and then they were gone.
That's
So
amazing.
it was just like you could write anything you wanted, any type of content. But it was only on the site between the hours of like 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. And Nick was like, "That's a stupid, terrible idea." But we did, like,
Under
the
this
acronym of
idea-
Pitcher List After Dark.
I like what it became, but under this idea, would the articles from the previous days come back up from 11 to 5? Would the whole catalog come up, or just that day from 11 to 5?
So what we would probably do is you would have like a queue of articles. I didn't really.
We're
think this
fleshing out a
totally
dumb
through,
idea.
but oh, yeah, absolutely, it's an extremely stupid idea that I love. But my
I
thought
do
was
too,
like, you
actually.
would just have a couple articles that you would feature as like the front page article, and then
Okay.
you would like hide it during the day,
I love it.
which is just like extra work for our our.
That's what I was going to say. That's the thing. As the portfolio built up, it would just be more work every day to hide and unhide them from 11 to
Yeah.
5.
This is also
But I love it.
like this is also like 5 years ago when we were a little bit smaller.
Right. So
But
maybe
yeah,
not
now
as
it
much
would be
volume
awesome.
to deal with.
And I don't even
Now
know
we're
what
like,
I would
we're
write. Like
snackable.
one of the first questions Nick had was like, "What do you want to write that you can't write about that would fit for
And
this?" And I'm
you
like,
had no
I don't know. I'll
answer.
think of something.
I will come. Let me do it, and then I will think of it.
Yeah, I'll figure it
I'll
out. I
put-
just need the green light.
I want to slide one dam into an article, please.
Just something.
We bring
man.
Eno on to do beer comparisons.
There we go.
Yeah.
As we're here in the middle of the fourth. Jake Crumpler's on the clock with about half his time gone. He has Carroll, Ellie, and Manny Machado. He doesn't need Manny Machado to steal 20. He's got Carroll and Ellie. But if he did steal 20, he'd be really, really well off on steals. And he stays with the hitting, goes James Wood. So back-to-back power guys after the 2 speed power guys. So he's set up very nicely with his offense. Mark Stubinger up now. J-Ram, Kurtz, and Turner. Obligatory Kurtz questions. Obviously, he's going to get talked about he's already been talked about to the hilt. But it is fascinating because of how expensive he is as a second pick. Rick, your pick is not coming up for a while, so I will call on you if you don't mind to get some of your thoughts on Kurtz. Is he somebody you see as worth taking in the second round? Obviously, you passed on him for Caminero. Maybe you're not looking to take a first baseman, but are you even comfortable taking somebody like Kurtz in the second round after his breakout season last year?
Yeah, I mean, in our original mock draft back in October, I think I took him at the end or early second round, and I think that's still in play. The thing with first base right now is there is a bit of a pocket there. We saw a bit of a run in the last 2 rounds here, where waiting on a Harper or even a Matt Olson, I feel, or even like Josh Naylor, even if you don't get the steals from him, he still contributes in other things. But I feel like that I between Vlad and Kurtz being that first baseman off the board, I think there's an argument there. But yeah, I think waiting till the third or fourth where you can find an Alonso, Harper, Olson, someone like that, I think that might be the play. I love Kurtz. I love the upside. I think he's able to continue do what he repeat last year, but it's still, I feel like it's just a little bit maybe too pricey for me where he's at right now. But I mean, I love the talent.
Such an amazing park too. And I will ask the gentleman who drafted him, Mark Stubinger, your pick is coming up. So if this runs over to your pick, you can stop talking. But you took him at that 2-8 spot there, so you're obviously comfortable with it. What are you looking for as a rebound here? What have you wet blanketed it all and said I could get this, or you just got stars in your eyes? I'm getting 50 bombs and a 300 average.
Absolutely, stars in the eyes. We're going 60 bombs.
I love it. Love it.
40.
MVP. He's winning the NL MVP too, just because it was so good of a season.
Absolutely. I mean, if Jacob Wilson can hit like 15 home runs,
that was so impressive. By the way, I don't know where that power came from with him.
It's not coming back.
I don't think so either, because wasn't it pretty confined to the early part of the year. At least it wasn't all home, which did impress me. He didn't just leverage the stadium there. But anyway, jokes aside, Mark, where are you on Kurtz as a follow-up? Obviously, you're probably not expecting just a perfect repeat given the strikeout rate and everything, but you obviously expect enough to be a second rounder. So what are you looking at from Kurtz?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be exact repeat. I don't think we're going to be an AL MVP candidate this year, but honestly, I got sniped there. My queue was Henderson and Ellie, and then they both went right before me, so it was a little bit of panic mode for a second. But
Been there.
I'm happy to take Kurtz. I do think that he's worth that second round pick, and I think he'll at least go 30 home runs, and the average should play pretty well in that park. So definitely not upset about getting him there.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad quote-unquote panic pick, as you said there. He's just so good. And yes, he strikes out a lot, but the way he just crushes the ball, it's really hard to be all that concerned about it. As we continue here into the fifth round, Freddie Freeman leads it off. I took Logan Webb. I now have Ohtani, Yamamoto, Bryce Terang, Rafael Devers, and Logan Webb as Kyle Bland looks to make his fifth pick. He started out with Soto, Cal Raleigh, Brent Rooker, Chris Sale, and now Jacob deGrom. So some old heads there, Kyle, with your pitching with Sale and deGrom. I like your two grandpas leading out front. I'm still very much in on both, despite their age, because their talent is so extreme that I have no problem betting on them. You obviously don't either. What are you looking at from these two grandfathers this year?
Yeah, I mean, these are guys who, even in less than full seasons, returned great value for you. So I'm basically, if I get right around 300 innings from them combined, that's going to be elite production. I'm not worried about their drop off, and like anything beyond that is just going to be gravy. Like if DeGrom just decides that, he's actually going to pitch a ton of innings for the second straight year, I'm going to be super happy about that. If Chris Sale just is like, I'll go 170 this year, like that's just profit. which it's rare to get profit on these kind of ace level pitchers, and I
Yeah.
really like that.
Exactly. Like sometimes you're just looking to break even or even just a little bit of a debt there just to get that volume and get quality work. But both those guys, they're so talented that you don't have to squint to really see them popping off. Patrick Fitzgerald takes our first closer with Mason Miller. And I got no problem with him as the number one closer. We were talking a little bit earlier about, saves in a league like this. It is categories, head-to-head categories, so you do need saves there. You make him the number one guy. You like him for a full year in San Diego being the elite, the number one closer this year, Patrick?
Yeah, I was kind of neck and neck, honestly, between him and Diaz. I guess Cade Smith Fantrax has him up there too, but for me, it's him against Diaz. And yeah, I think the strikeouts are going to be awesome, and they should have a lot of close games. I just wasn't loving the hitters there. Like I don't love Anthony, and I already have a shortstop, so I figured, why not? Let's get the first closer.
I like it. Miller is so awesome too, and he can get so many strikeouts to where he can even supplement you taking a lower strikeout pitcher. I mean, in some cases, on a rate basis, Sanchez isn't necessarily at the tippy top. So even if he came back down a little bit, Miller could supplement him to where you're still getting ace level strikeouts. Although with guys like Sanchez, I always like to point out that maybe their strikeout rate isn't at the top, but if they're putting up 180 innings, they're getting you enough strikeouts. So you're totally fine on that front. Our pitching run was just broken. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row before Cody Bellinger got taken by Scott Chu, who just refuses to take pitchers. He's just like, no,
Man,
I
I
don't
was
take
sitting
pictures.
there going, Kirby or Bradish will fall to me. And I was like, ooh, yeah, I really like Bradish this year. He's an Oriole. I get to have an Oriole on my team. And then Rick just
He
lights
said,
my dreams on fire.
I like that Reagan's Bradish combo there. I know there's some folks that have concerns with it. Yeah, that is a Nick Pollock combo right there. Some folks have concerns with both because of some of the injuries, but I just don't. Not that I don't think they can get hurt, but I don't care. Their talent is so extreme. And again, every pitcher can get hurt that I'm just going to take the best guys. And I think Bradish and Reagan's are going to be awesome this year, Rick. As we wait for Ben to figure out after getting tilted by the Bradish pick, he ends up with Ohtani, the pitcher. I didn't know they were separated here. That's fine. I wasn't going to use him as a pitcher anyway. And now the fifth of John Metzlar's pitchers. He said he was going to do it, and he did it. He gets Freddie Peralta to finish off the quintet to go Skeens, Crochet, Hunter Brown, Max Fried, Freddie Peralta, and then Mookie Betts as his first hitter. I love it, John. Well done there. And then Betts as your first hitter, not bad at all. Like, there's some upside there for an old guy. Rarely you find that with older guys, but I think a healthy Betts is still going to be a monster, John.
Yeah, and I feel like, the food poisoning he dealt with last year probably threw him off his game. You forget he missed such a huge amount of time. He lost 20, 30 pounds or some insane amount of weight.
It was nuts.
I think a lot goes into routine with these guys too. So when they get thrown off by an injury or in his case an illness, I think that had a cascading effect on his whole season. And ultimately, I'm pretty curious to see if he can bounce back to some degree.
I never have any problem placing a bet on Mookie Betts. No pun there. That was not a pun at all. I'm just saying, he's just so good that even in the face of aging a little bit of injury, the lost weight stuff last year, I don't care. I'm back. And as a 6th rounder and a 12-teamer, I think that's pretty damn good. Pretty darn good. Excuse me, Nick. Scott Chu doing the opposite of John Metzlar there. All hitters. In fact, he kept it all 6. He's got 6 hitters now, including 3 outfielders. So that's his outfield is full because we only have 3 for this roster. His first baseman and 2 utils. So he's got power coming out of his ears right now, but no pitching and very little speed. Tucker and a little bit of chip in from Bellinger and Green. As we continue on here in the middle of the 6th round, Nate Schwartz, you just took Maikel Garcia. I like that pick a lot. I'm a big Maikel Garcia guy, and I do actually think that there's potentially more here than what we saw in 2025 after his breakout year. How are you seeing him come off of that huge season?
Yeah, it seems really sustainable, surprisingly so. And as you said, I think there's more power to come there. And I think with the Kaufman bringing the fences in a little bit, I really like what he has to offer. And I'm kind of all in. I like the stolen bases, and he's really the last third baseman that gets you any amount of steals outside of Jazz and Jose Ramirez. So I'm kind of all in to lock down that position.
Yeah, I like that pick quite a bit, Michael Garcia. And like you mentioned, the fences moving in, could be an extra few bombs there for guys. We know right now KC you don't usually think of as a home run park. You still shouldn't, but it's just going to be a little bit better. And all you need is a couple extra homers to really send the guys' value up a few dollars there. As Mark takes O'Neal Cruz, one of the more debatable guys. Everyone's got their take. No one's tepid on him, right? You're either all in or all out. The raw skills, Mark, are absolutely obscene, but so is the strikeout rate. So are the mental lapses and the lack of quality defense. Kind of a do or die year here, Mark. I don't mind him at 6.8. You don't either, obviously, but what do you think he can realistically do this year? What do you see out of O'Neal Cruz? Are you going to take that batting average all year? Or do you start to see him as maybe somebody you spot if the average is around 200 again?
I think this is kind of a format play. I think head-to-head, I'm less concerned about lower batting averages just because week-to-week variance is already so crazy.
It's a good point.
Obviously, if you want it, good batting averages are great. And I kind of already have that on my team with Jose Ramirez, with Nick Kurtz, with Trey Turner.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of already protected a little bit, but also just week-to-week variance. I'm not too worried about it. And he's one of the last guys on the board I think legitimately has, like, if things hit 30-30 upside.
Absolutely.
So that was more of a fun little upside dart throw there to see how it works out. But there is some concern there, the mental lapses with the not good defense. But on the plus side too, he has a better lineup around him for the first time ever.
You can really say that. Like it's filling out. Like it's not a world beater. No one's going to be afraid to throw guys in PNC, but it's a competent lineup, and that's just going to be residual runs and ribbies for their guys. So yeah, again, I don't mind the shot there. And I like what you said about being a format play to where, sure, we talked about how those volatile guys can hurt you in head-to-head if they're just draining you each week. But with the average, like you said, it is just each week. So you can kind of work around it. And again, you built a core with Ramirez, Kurtz, and Turner, who hopefully can absorb some of Cruz's average while he's giving you bombs and steals. As we close out the 6th round here with Ben Rice going, and then the turn will be somebody that we'll see here in a moment. Josh, you got thrown into this last minute for Ben Pernick. Is Josh still on the call? Where did he go?
I'm still here. Ben is here and has taken over.
Okay.
But
is Ben on the call?
I don't believe so, no.
Do you want to talk about the first few picks thing? You went full homer with Acuna. I got no problem with that.
I have the Acuna shirt on.
His talent is still obscene. I do want to ask, though, what are you looking at for the speed? Is he going to run big time again?
And it's like the largest grain of salt of how many bags he's stealing in the Venezuelan Winter League.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand he's probably going up against bottom tier catching, bottom tier pitchers in terms of holding on runners, but he is running again.
I think the fact that he's allowed to run is key, though. I think that's worth pointing out.
Exactly. I guess the knees are good enough where the Braves org has not sent a message down and be like, "Hey, stop."
Right.
So I take that as good news in terms of Cunha. And just because Atlanta was just horrific last year, I didn't even realize how good Acuna was when he came back. I saw his stats the other day, and I was like, oh wow, this wasn't when he returned from the first ACL. In terms of hitting, he was very much his normal self.
Right.
When he came back.
And that's why there's still so much excitement with him. I think some people are hoping for a more substantial discount. It's just this guy can still go crazy. Nobody's necessarily saying he's going back to 40, 70, but everyone will still take, 30, 20. And there's the upside for much, much, much more.
Yeah, and ideally the entire Atlanta offense can bounce back a bit this year. So if he's still hitting at the top of that, you've got the runs, you've got RBI chances because 1 through 9, they're pretty solid.
I like how you continue to fill it out, too, with Vlad Jr. after him, Zach Neto, who's become now an established top-end guy, Wyatt Langford, and then your first 2 pitchers there with Luzardo and Cease. Now, is this going to be Pernick's first pick, or did he pick Cease?
He took Cease. I took Luzardo. He may have been trying to take someone instead of Luzardo there because people started getting added to the queue, and I got confused as to what was happening.
There's ghost queue.
So I'll take full credit or blame for the first 5 picks. Ben started with Cease at 6, and I have Cease in a dynasty league, and I don't know what to do with him. It's just mind-numbingly frustrating sometimes because
understandable,
and it can be on both ends in the same start. Is he will go 5 innings and give up 2 hits,
right? And
then all of a sudden he finishes with 5 2/3 and 6 earned, and it's just
and when you're watching him, you can kind of see it.
Everybody, or is it me?
Call draft.
That's everybody.
Unbelievable. But
I ripped. My bad.
You're back.
Am I back?
You're good.
There you
Back.
go.
Oh, you're back.
Sorry.
We did it.
I didn't say anything important. Don't worry.
No, but yeah, I like Cease. Was listening to Company Man here, the craft the other day when
Love it.
Nick were talking about it, and just how much volume Cease does have, and
Right.
you can't ignore that, even if it is kind of all over the place. And Eno brought up a good point about what they did with Gosman when he came there, is they just made him basically a 2-pitch pitcher. And like, could you do that with Cease? Is just do the fastball and the slider,
Got 2
and
great
just,
pitches
like,
to do it.
move it all over. And they brought up the point of like, hey, just make sure you work the fastball down as well, so that way it's not a clear fastball up, splitter down.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a little bit of everywhere, and that's kind of what helped Gosman do so well.
Yeah, I think I am really eager to see if Toronto has a plan for Cease, because he's a really talented pitcher. He is somebody I usually like to buy the dip. I will say, didn't really have much of a dip this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not against buying, but I was kind of hoping for a real discount, and it hasn't materialized because people are like, we're going to stick with this guy. We know he still has the skills, and you just kind of play the volatility a little bit with him. So I like your first 5 picks there. I think you set Ben up very nicely with those first 5. Neto, before you go, Josh.
Yes.
Again, I think he's established himself as now a firm stud here after these last 2 big seasons. Are we going to get more of the same, or is there another level there? More of the same would be great, by the way, so I don't want to even pretend that he has to get better. But do you think he could even possibly get better, Zach Neto?
I guess there's a chance. I kind of just, shortstop's one of the weird positions too for me, where I feel like I wanted to find somebody before it dropped off really far, and I am also a wait until like the 5th or 6th round for pitching in that ballpark. I like to go bats heavy first, just because I feel like there's more options in the mid round for pitchers, and just I have better luck finding pitchers than I do the mid round hitters. So I'd rather just stick with the established guys. So I'm really just hoping for just more of the same with Neto, and just locking down shortstop with a solid option.
Yeah, he's so darn good. I really have been impressed with him the last 2 years. And last year he even got cut short by injury, and he's like, I don't care. I'll be fine with that. Yeah. Ben Palmer, I love your last 2 picks here, Nick Pivetta and Jackson Holliday. I'm really starting to get on this Jackson Holliday train, partly because of what we talked about earlier, about how utterly dreadful second base is, but also because, he's a former 1-1, pedigreed to the hilt, and I think just kind of getting going. Are we looking at a leap this year or a step forward?
So I think a little bit of both. I think there's a good chance for him to take a good step forward. You actually see, if you look at our I mentioned this yesterday on our hitter ADP panel. If you look at his PLV chart, his decision value, specifically against breaking balls, he got significantly better as the year went on. And to me, that is very encouraging for a 22-year-old.
Right.
I feel like it's much harder to adjust to the breaking stuff that you're seeing in the majors than it is to adjust to like fastballs. So I think that's encouraging. I also, just looking at the second basemen who are left, I like the overall profile of Holliday more than pretty much anyone else. I think there's a good balance of, power and some speed, and he'll be leading off in what should be a really good lineup. And he's a lefty hitting in Camden Yards. There's a lot working for him there.
Absolutely. Like, you start to get into Keishel, who's interesting but hasn't really done anything yet. Brandon Lau, who's going to PNC, who's, power, but, not a dynamic profile. Ozzie Albies, who's become kind of a diet version of what we saw from Holliday last year. So, yeah, I just love his upside. Dang it, Patrick. Why'd you have to take Duran? That was rude.
Had to do it. Sorry, Alfie.
So close to my pick, too. Yes, that's precisely what was my thinking.
By the way, Paul, we're not talking about your picks, but I really liked your Jackson Merrill pick.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I like that where he fell. I do think there is a buy the dip situation with him. I think
100%.
People are pushing him way too far down, and I'm happy to take it. Batting average is still so difficult to find, really at any point. And I still think that that's something that he's pretty bankable for. So I like Jackson Merrill quite a bit. Thank you for the compliment. I'll take Soderstrom there. I wanted Duran with that speed, though. Darn it. Good pick. Good pick. All right, we have our the 5th closer off the board. I missed a few there. After Miller, it went Munoz. Diaz, Munoz. I got the wrong order there. Duran, and now Hader. So we got 5 off the board, and there's only a few studs left. The closer pool is so thin in terms of bankable guys this year. It is crazy and kind of difficult to deal with. I'll pick somebody at random who does not have a closer yet. Nate Schwartz. How do you tackle closers? Is it something that you're usually open to paying for? Do you play the middle, or do you go fishing for lottery tickets?
I
Dang it, I was going to take Kane Smith. I should have stopped talking about closers.
Yeah, this run had me just, starting to worry and look at the queue of, oh gosh, I need to find something here. I usually like to find that closer 3 or 4. I don't want to be the first one off the board because Mason Miller here went 2 rounds before the next one went off the board, and I don't want to lose that cost. But I still want to make sure I'm getting a premier option and make sure that I have something locked down, especially in a league like this. It's so thin, and you need something good.
I totally agree. I was going to take Kane Smith.
I have a rule of thumb that Nick taught me that I've used for years, and it's when I'm looking at who's available and I don't really love anyone who's available like around this pick, that's when I pick a closer.
I like that. Yeah.
When I'm sitting there like, I don't know, maybe him, maybe that guy, maybe that.
I can go there.
That's a sign. Pick a closer.
Yeah, that's closer time. I think Cade represents quite a cliff here. So I'm not going to take a roll this Chapman is what I'm saying. This getting thin, y'all. It's getting thin here, folks. What are we going to do? Let's go back to pitching. Oh, you know what? I'll do something I wouldn't do a lot. I'll take Spencer Strider. Yeah, let's try that. I'm pretty nervous on him. I'll admit. I'm going out of my comfort zone a little bit with Strider. I don't mind this price point. He gets kind of crazy in the NFBC circles sometimes. I won't leave it open and wait for somebody, but I will ask an open question that someone can step forward and say they want to talk about. Does anybody have any strong feelings on drafting Strider this year? Is he anybody's guy on this call, Spencer Strider? No. Okay. Is anybody fully out at this, around this price point here where you're just not touching him? Do we have any extremes on either end here on Strider, or is everyone kind of in the middle?
I don't think I'm ever going to draft Spencer Strider this year. I don't think it really matters the cost.
Okay. I think that's interesting then. And is that just... Is it what he does as a 2-pitch guy where that, got exposed a little bit last year? Is it the health? Is it a mix?
It's a mix, but I think the biggest thing for me, it's kind of like taking your high strikeout slugger where you see how it works, but it's such a thin line for literally everything to fall off a cliff.
And we saw that last year.
It's not like a guy with 4 or 5 pitches where he can tweak something and, figure something out. If Strider was capable of throwing any bit of a competent curveball or changeup, he would have done it already, and we would have already seen the gains that can be. And I just got sniped on Chapman.
Thank you, Jake. I maybe should have just taken him. I was like, I don't know, not yet. And then I was like, someone's going to definitely take him.
This is getting rough.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal out there in these streets.
I don't trust it at all, and I think there are just so many better or safer options in any regard. For what you're trying to do.
Yeah, Strider's scary. I mean, the guy that went right before him is Jacob Mizorowski, who, has similar, explosive vibes, but he himself has a deeper arsenal. And that was always the big thing with Strider is it's 2 pitches. And you're starting to see why that can be so treacherous last year.
Yeah, when you have an elite fastball and that's, your main thing, and then you have elbow surgery and you lose, 3 ticks of velocity
right
off the fastball, that's terrifying.
That's gonna hurt, and that that's the big question mark too. Does he gain any velocity back? So again, kind of going out on a limb here. I will be clear that in a mock I can get a little frisky sometimes. Strider's not going to be someone I've got loaded throughout the portfolio this year. Nate, I do like your pivot off of Chapman to Noel McLean here. Is he one of your favorites in this? Well, I forget what the nickname is for it that Eno has, the Dangerous 7 or something of these.
Hype 7 or something.
The Hype 7, yes.
Yeah.
Is McLean your favorite, or is he just who was here and available to you?
So it looks like I drafted Burns ahead of him, but McLean is my favorite. He's just a monster. The position player turned to starter. And
when has that ever worked for the Mets, though? That's my question to you.
But I can't
think of an example where a shortstop or something from an obscure college has turned into anything for them.
Impossible.
So I can't really see it. I can't see your vision. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's really hard to see why I would waste a 9th round pick on him. But he's a monster, and just the pure amount of stuff is unbelievable. And
it really is.
For a guy who just all he needs to do is figure out lefties. Like, he's learned enough that I trust that he'll figure it out. He's already had the high strikeout games, and I think it's just, we know that the Mets have become a very smart organization in how they're treating these young pitchers, and it's hard to believe that he's going to be led astray in this year or the next few years.
Absolutely. No, I'm really excited about Noel McLean. He is electric. It's just so hard not to be geeked about him. And that's why they're the Hype 7. I mean, all these guys here, you can make the case to get really excited about them. I don't remember all 7 off the top of my head. A good host would name them folks, but I don't remember all of them. Ask Eno. And there goes Trevor McGill and David Bednar. Yeah, the closer pool is shallow, folks. It is almost about drained at this point after John Metzlar did that. And he now has, 7 pitchers out of his first 10. But I love the 3 veteran cornerstones you got. Now you got some age there with Altuve, but you got Betts, Altuve, Bregman. You're betting on 3 bankable long-term guys. I do like that if you're going to go with this big extreme pitching profile, that you're not going to get all risky with your hitters and, take all these high upside guys that might flop. You got 3 guys that if they're healthy, they're going to give you a pretty strong foundation of offensive production.
Yeah, and if I've learned anything, the world hates old people. So
I know. And rightfully so, for being honest, right? As an old myself, I'm like, what? I got nothing. I have nothing more,
I get it, man. We're just in people's way. Honestly,
right. Just shove me down and keep moving, Gen Z.
But yeah, I just really wanted the stability there, especially at the middle infield. So just trying to set some kind of foundation so I could take some big swings later.
I like it. Again, for such an extreme setup here with all these pitchers, I really like the hitters that you're getting. I wish Scott Chu was here so I could gush over Gavin Williams with him. I love that guy. I don't know if I would take him at 9-10, but I am really, really into Gavin Williams. Trey Savage is interesting too, obviously, after the big playoff run. As we have Ben Pernick on the clock here at 10-5. This is a 23-round draft, so we're just drafting our no reserves, just our offensive, our full lineup, right?
Love the Matt Chapman pick. That's a great pick.
I think it's 10 starting hitting spots, 8 pitching spots, and like 5 bench.
Oh, there are 5 reserves. Okay, sorry. Oh yeah, because there's no corner. There's 3 outfielders. There's no yeah. So there are 5 reserves here. But yeah, that Westberg Chapman there just took the top 2 off of my queue, so that was pretty neat.
Yeah, I think Chapman in the 10th is a steal. I think that's awesome. Love it.
And he's not really old yet, but he's already kind of in that boring zone where nobody's going to be oohing and on, although you just did. But like, you rarely are, sniping somebody with Matt Chapman, but he's just solid production.
Well, and part of the reason he struggled last year is he busted up his fingers.
Right. And that's going to be an impact.
You bust up your fingers. You need that for hitting. So I think if he's healthy, then there's no reason to expect he doesn't get back to like Matt Chapman production.
And they're getting better in San Francisco too. Again, not like some behemoth of a lineup, but a deeper, more thorough, competent lineup. A full year of Devers. I like some of those guys out there, including Devers, who's on my team. All right, Kyle's up, and then I'm on deck to take the crappiest closer ever, whoever that's going to be. I can finally do a queue because I figured out how to have a second screen. I just noticed that, Kyle, you did get Devin Williams after the hater, so you got 2 actual closers. That's pretty nice. You and John
feels good.
It has to. And then you take Adames, another one of those steady giants that I think is just going to be really good. No one's going to be losing their mind when you draft them as far as like a flashy pick, but who cares? Just quality production. All right, I'm going to bet on this guy. He's got insane talent. Let's see if Baltimore can fix Helsley.
I almost took Helsley with my pick because I firmly believe that Baltimore's going to figure him out.
I have some pretty strong confidence there too, and he's just so good when he's on that let's take a shot there, especially with the pool being so drained.
I was like that close. I was like, oh, I bet Helsley will be back when it comes back to my turn. Oh, well.
The only way I don't think he is if he gets hurt. Like, I just think from a talent standpoint, I just think he has to be a stud. So I'm happy to take a shot there.
The issues from last year are not easily, but they are fixable. And yeah, I think the Orioles, his stuff is still there. I mean, yeah, it's a good spot for him.
For as angry as I was about their offseason last year, Angry's maybe overstating it, but just as annoyed as I was with the fact that they
Right.
got the green light to spend and didn't, I am on the opposite end this year in terms of being impressed with what they've done. I really like the things that they've done
You and
to
me
try to
both.
supplement this team.
You and me both. Now they just need to sign Framber Valdez.
That would be
Right.
perfect. Literally perfect. Especially if they can get one of these short deals. All these short deals are going around. If they can get like a 3-year flex contract, Joe Sheehan coined that phrase, which I like that for the ones that have all the opt-outs on each year. So if they could do like a 3 or 4-year flex deal on him, that'd be great.
Do you see the news that they're interested in Lucas Giolito, which would be like just feel like the most Orioles thing?
It would be
It'd be like,
very
we don't need
Orioles.
Framber Valdez. We've
No,
got
Framber.
Lucas Giolito.
We'll build Giolito back. It's like, I mean, why not both? Get Framber to be like the lock, and then if
Right.
you can build Giolito back, he's depth.
Well, they were also apparently calling Verlander, so why not? Charlie Morton worked out great last year.
Yeah, no, that was huge.
That was awesome.
Everyone loved how that turned out.
Yeah, nobody complained. No one. One of those rare instances where
Just universal agreement. We were all surprised. We didn't know everyone would love it, but it just
what a
worked
comeback
so
season.
well. All right, where am I picking here?
Yeah,
Boy.
I'm an O's fan as well. We do not need any more SP4 contracts.
Right, the SP4s are locked, guys.
Look,
Yeah,
if you have a full rotation of SP4s, that adds up to like
To an SP20.
An SP20, and like yeah, we all want.
Ooh, nice pick.
Thank you.
Runs
If
and
that was-
RBI are also always super underrated in any draft. Nobody really thinks about them, and just anybody
Completely
on the
agree.
Dodgers. That lineup is ridiculous. And Teoscar, like he's not incredible. And I'm the biggest Dodgers hater, so I'm not even being biased here. But just
I
his
think one of
ability
my-
to produce runs is off the charts.
I completely agree, and I think one of my weaknesses sometimes is taking like the studs off the garbage teams and getting too many of them. And I don't want to say a guy who hasn't been drafted, but I'll point him out when he gets drafted, and like I end up getting a bunch of guys like that, and then I'm like, why are you behind in runs and ribbies every year? Because you have 4 Pirates and Marlins, you idiot.
Yeah, at some point, hitting 7th or 8th on the Dodgers is better than hitting 1st or 2nd on the White Sox or
Exactly.
Marlins. So yeah, I totally get it.
As we move through into the 11th here, we are cooking with gas. The pace has been wonderful, folks. Just want to thank everyone for keeping everything going very nicely here. Kyle, you just took Pablo Lopez, man. I love this guy. I am worried that maybe some of the shoulder issues from earlier in his career come creeping back as he gets older. I don't know if that's a super valid concern or not, but that's really my only concern, and that's not enough to keep me away from it. I think I'm still going to be drafting some Pablo Lopez this year. What do you like from him out of 2026?
Yeah, I mean, he looked great. Obviously, a 2.74 ERA looks really good. It's like, a small sample, 75 innings, but like it was also paired with a 3.2 FIP, and like even the xFIP at 3.9 is like not great, but like I'll take it.
Workable,
And
yeah.
I'm not really concerned about like everything looks good. The command was good. The stuff held up. Like I think like this is just Pablo Lopez. Like he'll still be fine. Like it'll be good. Like it's in the 11th round for me to get a guy who was like going in like the 6th last year,
Mhm.
and I don't see any real appreciable drop off other than he only pitched 75 innings. Like
Right,
give me
because
that.
like you said, the talent was still there and readily evident in those 75 innings. And yet, this is a pretty sharp discount on Pablo Lopez. So like I said, I'm probably going to be willing to buy back in this year myself.
My rotation of just exclusively old injury risk pitchers is really paying off handsomely.
Sale DeGrom Lopez. You're either
Just
getting
wait till you see what I've got cooking next.
you're either getting like 550 innings or 280.
Yeah, it's if you're not first, you're last, right?
Exactly, the Ricky
Week
Bobby
before,
method.
It doesn't matter.
All the way. Now we're seeing Scott Chu build out his pitching after waiting. He took 8 straight hitters in a row. He's now got Gavin Williams, Trey Savage, Luis Castillo, and Ranger Suarez. So he went with maybe a couple high upside guys who are a little bit more raw with Gavin Williams and Savage, who could maybe take a leap if a few things come together. And then a couple guys a little bit more boring that maybe have a little bit more stable floors with Castillo and Suarez there. So I like that. Do we have any Seattle fans on the call? Any Mariners fans?
Oh, this guy.
Sorry, Kyle. I did not know your fandom.
Yeah.
Castillo, I would love to talk with you about Luis Castillo. Then what are we looking at this year? Longtime fan of his, but obviously his star has faded a bit. Is he still draftable here in the 11th?
I mean, in the 11th, it's defensible. I'm not a huge Castillo fan. Like that, Gangbusters Mariners rotation, he's probably the last of the pitchers that I like in the whole crew. Even like Bryce Miller, like I like the upside that Bryce Miller has shown more than I like Castillo. Like I don't understand how he's consistently such a FIP beater and just projection beater. Like it blows my mind. Oh, the data guy can't understand how this guy just pitches well. Like, yeah, I get that, but I do my best to try and figure out why my understanding doesn't work, and this one still just breaks my brain. Yeah, he locates pitches, he's very effective at locating pitches, but that's not super stable, and yet he's done it for 5 straight years, and I can't get my head quite around it.
Keeps churning out quality seasons, and it's it's that classic cliche of I'd rather be a year early than a year late. So if I jump off him and Luis Castillo and he pops off again this year, I'm willing to say, okay, I lost on that one, versus if I jump in again and he blows up in my face. And I think we're on that sort of line with him where it could be a sharper decline when he does fall off. Not to a 5 ERA, but the tough part about him is it could be 180 innings of a 470, where they let him keep pitching because he is the number 4 and he is still collecting, 6 innings per, and he's keeping y'all in the game, but he's not doing anything for fantasy purposes. That's my fear with Castillo.
With Evans going down too, now they're kind of a little more desperate for innings, or to at least make their healthy guys stretch a little bit longer. Oh, and here we go. Let's keep the old train going. Eovaldi.
Love it. After some youngsters, or just one, I guess, with Sheehan, you're no, we got to turn this train around. Let's get another old.
Bring it back. Yeah.
All right, I'm shooting.
But
continue.
I know Castillo. You're totally right. I don't want to be the one holding the bag with him. I'm happy to watch him succeed, and these are the things of I'm never rooting for someone to do poorly. I'm happy to be wrong when guys are successful. That's really cool. Good for you, and it also makes me think about what my process is and how I can be better. But he's just a guy that I still just can't quite grasp, and so you'll rarely, if ever, see me have him unless I can get him at a crazy discount.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I do think there will be some drafts where Luis Castillo does fall. It'll get into a room where he's just kind of an old, boring guy, and he starts to plummet. So I'll be eager to see if I wind up in any of those rooms, because those are probably the spots where I'd say, you know what? It's been too long. I'll go ahead and take him. But right now, 11, again, is not a terrible pick. But I'm talking if it's 13th, 14th round, and it's that real super discount, that's where I might jump back in. I just took Imai. Does anybody on the call want to speak out and have any strong thoughts one way or the other on Tatsuya Imai? Any big Imai fans? Or Imai, am I saying it wrong? No mega fans. Okay. Well, if Eno was here, he'd be doing backflips about him. He's very, very excited. I was really impressed that Houston stepped up and got him, right? Because I don't know if I was alone on this, but I kind of thought maybe they're going to start not tearing it down, but start shaving down a little bit, not adding money and kind of looking toward the future a little bit. But then they step out and go get him, add some other pieces, make the Mike Burrows trade, and I think Mike Burrows a dope sleeper, by the way. I really want to talk about him. I'm going to do a whole panel about him tomorrow, Mike Burrows. Keep an eye on Mike Burrows, y'all. We're going to talk a lot more about him this weekend, come hell or high water. But anyway, I was really surprised that they went for Imai because, again, I thought maybe they'd be looking toward not spending money, but they go out and get him. Kyle, can Houston, you're going up against them with your fandom there as a Mariners fan. Is Houston still a threat to you, or are they starting to actually fade?
I don't know how the entire AL West is trying to win.
I know Texas is trying to go for it too.
Everyone is just well, let's be just above 500. Even the A's are getting frisky, and it's just yo, everyone we can't all win
they're trying.
It's crazy, but so I don't understand how the Astros are well, we're gonna trade Kyle Tucker, but also sign Imai, and we're gonna do all of these 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and then 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and it's you're just moving deck chairs on the Titanic. Nothing's really affecting anything here. So I don't really understand what the idea is, but it's also, well, like my Mariners aren't really like pushing chips in either when they absolutely should be. And so it's just like nobody like really wants it, but everybody's happy to kind of be like, oh well, if you leave the door open, maybe
I'll
I'll
take a
step into it.
shot. Yeah. And because your Mariners haven't gone full bore and taken it over, Astros are saying, hey, if we get in the dance, you never know. They know that if you get in October, you got just as good a chance as anybody if you get hot. So all you got to do is get in the dance, and they figure, hey, if Seattle's going to leave a crack, we will push through, because they do still have some old guys, of course, with well, again, I know Alvarez isn't technically old, but I do think his body is. And then, of course, Altuve is actual old. So they do have some guys that I guess they want to still stick with pushing forward. And I think they're going to be scary again. I called them the horror movie villain. You just can't kill the Astros right now.
Yep. Yeah, they just keep sticking around, and they are like, they've had a little bit of a brain drain the last couple years in that front office, but like there are still some capable people who like know how to get their best, like the best out of kind of the players they have, and they know how to capitalize on maybe weird or atypical skill sets. So like I'm never happy when the Astros sign someone I think is good. Right. I think they'll get like the upper end out of that player.
Exactly. Yeah, they're one of those organizations that when they sign somebody, you're going to at least give them a second look. They're not automatically going to be good, but there's a handful of organizations that when they bring a player in, you want to see what they're going to do. And the Astros are definitely one of them, whether you like them or not. As Jake Crumpler takes Brandon Lau, we've talked about second base a lot throughout this draft. We have a little back-to-back there with Ozzie Albies and Brandon Lau. I like Lau as kind of a late second baseman. If you're waiting on the position, I think he can go to PNC and rake. We've already talked about how their lineup has thickened up a little bit. He's part of that, of course, Jake. But how do you feel about Brandon Lau this year going to PNC?
Feeling, it's, I don't know, mixed up. It's
just kind of a boring pick. Were you on Albies? But since you were looking at second base, were you on Albies? Did you get sniped there at all?
I was just scared of losing out on second base because it just drops off so fast. So I saw one go and I was like, okay, now it's time. I've been biding my time over here, waiting for second base. I think the thing with Lau is I like him. I like that he hits for power. I don't like that Pittsburgh lineup. PNC Park is notoriously a pitcher's park. I think it plays better for left-handed hitters. But with the move from George Steinbrenner to PNC, it's going to be a big step down. And I know that Lau has played a lot of his time in Tropicana Field, which is also notoriously a pitcher's park. I think he's going to be fine. He's not going to be like the 30-plus home run hitter that he was, but he's going to hit at the top of the order like he did for the Rays throughout his time there. So there is confidence in knowing that I'm getting power out of Lau. And in this format, I think power might be the most important, because every time somebody hits a home run, you're getting a run and an RBI as well. So that's at least 3 categories.
And it's average. I mean, it's a hit. Right. So that's it's part of average too. So that's homers are just wonderful. And, to your point about Brandon Lau living in the Trop for most of his career, 807 OPS there. And that is a pitcher's park, like you said, and he was able to still survive. He hit 57 homers in about 1,200 plate. Yeah, so you can just kind of have that. So he was about almost 30 homers per 600 plate appearances there as well. So I think he's got big boy power. So even in PNC, he can be at like a 25 clip over a full season.
Right.
So I think that'll be pretty nice there. Good pick there with Brandon Lau. And now second base is even thinner. It's getting Paul Sporer thin over here, folks. You got to be careful. The top guy on rank from Fantrax is Luke Keeschel, a guy I like, but he's really big unknown right now. He's dealt with injuries. He dealt with injuries last year as well. So I don't know what we're going to get out of him. And then it's Bryson Stott and Xavier Edwards. It just gets really, really tough there. There goes the guy I was kind of loosely referencing earlier, Jacob Marcy. I end up with way too many Jacob Marcy types, and that's why I never have any freaking runs and ribbies. But I love that guy. Ben Palmer, excellent pick. I love this dude. Talk to us about Jacob Marcy, please.
Yeah, I think I'm not as in on the power for Marcy, but I mean, I think he's legit, great contact hitter and a lot of speed.
Yep.
And I think in the 14th round, that's, I'll take a swing on that upside for sure. And maybe the power sticks around, and that'd be awesome.
It's a bonus.
But I don't even really care. I'm expecting it to not. and he's just a great contact speed guy. That works for me.
Yeah, in the 14th round, you don't need power from Marcy. If he happens to bring it, great. But you get late average, and we've talked about that a few times tonight too. Finding late average is so difficult in any draft, especially without it just being like empty. And at least Marcy is bringing you some speed, and we think maybe a little punch. We'll kind of see how much.
Yeah.
Charlotte likes Jacob Marcy too, by the way. This is Charlotte for people that don't know. This is my mini wiener. I have two. But I can't show the other one. Anyway, Nick's not going to like that. Anyway, Luke Keishel and Bryson Stott go.
Give me a second. I was.
Doing some math.
Listen, we're past.
Oh, John, I missed it. I missed that you took Barger. I don't like you anymore. I was liking you so much tonight. And now I hate your guts. Dang it. I like Barger a lot. Great. I like your double dip there of Barger, Muncy. But can you talk to us about Barger? Is he somebody you target, or did you just take him because he was on the board? Like, where are you on Barger as a potential breakout?
Yeah, honestly, I just needed some power. Barger, I think he was like 90th percentile or something. And pretty much all of the hard hit categories. His X-Woba was crazy. Even as he was slumping towards the end of the season, like he kind of tailed off right before the playoffs. But all the underlying stats looked really strong. So, yeah, I'm pretty high on Barger just for the power output. I think he could continue to kind of grow as a player. He had a pretty good prospect pedigree when he was coming up, so it's cool to see him kind of realize that potential.
Yeah, very, very, very good pick. And then you get into the Dodgers lineup, which we talked about earlier, is always nice. And Muncy's just kind of boring production. And then didn't he have like a change last year where he got some glasses and then things started popping off again, and he was hitting them back into the ocean, which is still one of my favorite things ever when he told Madison Bumgarner, if you don't like it, go get it out of the ocean. God, I love that. And Bumgarner deserved it. But what do you think about Muncy? Is it just be more of the same that we saw last year from the glasses transition where he can maybe be a 30 home run hitter again?
Yeah, so I dropped Muncy in pretty much every one of my leagues last year, right before he got prescription lenses. And then, of course, he hit like 280 with like 20 home runs the second half. So, yeah, I think it's kind of more just me feeling bad about myself missing out last time and wanting to try to make up for it this year. So.
Well, I think I really do think if he stays healthy, he can get back to 30 bombs because, like you said, the prescription lenses really brought back the Muncy that we were used to seeing for a while there. So, very good picks on the end over there. As we finish up the 14th round, I took Carlos Estevez. Obviously, there's concerns with him. He is the named closer. I am not super confident in it. If I have it right, Rick, I believe you do closer work at Pitcher List, right? And with moving the walls in and the home run issues that he showed last year, there's already concerns before the walls were moved in on Estevez. How much does that add to the concerns that you might already have for Estevez?
It definitely adds. He's like the supreme fly ball pitcher too. I think he's got like a 22% ground ball rate. I mean, everything's in the air with him, and it's usually kind of hard contact too. I think it definitely doesn't help him out. But there's something about like he keeps overperforming his peripherals 2 years in a row now. So I mean, at some point, when is it just continuous good luck, or is there's something there that we're not exactly seeing? So, I mean, the bringing the fences in definitely hurts him in my opinion. But he's got job security, and there's really even Lucas Erceg behind him. I'm not too scared of him at this point. So
right. Like, I liked Erceg coming into last year, but he did not step up. Like, he did not show out. The strikeout rate cratered. Yeah. Maybe he can get some of it back. But, yeah, I think Estevez has that security, which that's the big part of the deal these days with closers, too, that you can find so few with security. So, yeah, I took a shot, even though he does scare me. I'm on the clock here. But go ahead. Sorry, Rick.
No, I mean, at this point, and round 14, with all those other guys off the board, he's worth a shot because – at least you're going to get some saves from him to begin the year. If he holds on to the job, you're going to get probably 30 plus. So,
even if it comes with a 4.20 ERA, it won't kill me. Speaking of late batting average, the quintessential late batting average guy is Yandy Diaz, and he goes there to Kyle Bland. I like that pick, especially after you took somebody like Murakami a couple picks earlier. They kind of pair well together. Were you thinking that? Were you seeing them as kind of a pair?
I mean, Cal Rowley in the second round, Murakami, Thomas is kind of a question mark. Even Jake Swanson can be a little rough.
Right. He can. He hits like 240s, 230s.
And like first base at this point too is also a little wonky. Whether it's like I like Aranda, but is he going to platoon? And then it's just like Torkelson is he that top prospect for him? A little bit, maybe.
I hope, but I
Christian
don't know.
Walker, Wilson Contreras, like those are your kind of like old guys. There is another guy who's on the board that I'm still looking at first base, but like Yandy, it just made too much sense as far as like round 15, batting average hole, like it
Team
all
build,
just
yeah.
lined up.
Yeah, that's a great team build fit. I didn't hear who, but I know somebody yelled at Jake Crumpler when he took Griffin Jacks. Who was that?
It was Rick.
That was me.
I don't
thought I was
blame
gonna get
you.
this. Yeah.
Griffin Jacks is a monster. What do you like from him out of Tampa Bay this year? Full year there.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna throw away some of the numbers from last year because Steinbrenner Field was a joke, and even he had some troubles in Minnesota too. But before, like in 2024, when he had 10 saves and 5 wins, he was still the 11th best RP in Yahoo Fantasy Standard League. So he's probably going to get more than 10 saves this year. I know they're going to go with a committee, but he's still probably going to lead that committee. If he gets 15 or so saves, all his peripherals last year were as good, if not better than 2024. So, I mean, that plus 15 saves, I think he's an easy top 15 to 20 reliever this year. And there's a couple other guys that just went Uribe is another one who we don't know who's going to be the closer in Milwaukee.
We assume
McGill, but it could still be Uribe. So it's a great pick by Scott there.
They like to keep us guessing there in Milwaukee. They're going to go with whoever they think's best in the moment. And so that could be Uribe winning the job there. Tanner Scott obviously had the meltdown last year, and he's not going to be the guy with Diaz there, but he can also get some vulture saves, some vulture wins. He's going to be in leverage, right? They're paying him, and if he's healthy and upright, Tanner Scott's going to be in leverage. He could kind of be like a lefty Griffin Jacks, where, he's not going to get crazy saves, but if he's getting 8 wins along with 10 saves, a bunch of strikeouts, then Tanner Scott could be a G as well. All right, as we move into the 16th round here, Edward Cabrera goes by Rick. Great pick there. I am going to call on somebody else. Do we have any Cubs fans on the call? Oh, Mark. Yeah. Okay, we got Cubs fan here. Brand new guy. Are you excited about ECAB? He finally stayed somewhat healthy last year. Started to show off what some of that prospect hype could deliver. Do you believe in it, or are you worried he's a ticking time bomb?
No, I believe in it, and I'm a little bit biased. But like you said, we started to see it last year. A lot of teams were in on him, which gives me some confidence that it's not just the Cubs seeing something. There's some injury concerns, but find me a pitcher that doesn't have major injury concerns.
Exactly.
Honestly. And it's a profile the Cubs don't have a lot of. The Cubs and Jed Hoyer have loved to get guys who throw 92. So having Cabrera be able to just rip almost triple digits, I love it. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah,
and actually, he was number 1 on my queue there, so got sniped. So good pick, Rick.
Well, at least you were able to go, and talk him up for us and let us know that Edward Cabrera is somebody that the Cubs fan does like here. I'm kind of eager to see what he can do. He's teased and tantalized. Finally did something last year. Now going to a really competitive team. Edward Cabrera could be a monster in Chicago. All eyes will be on him for sure. I'll say that. And we see Contreras and Torkelson go. Was Contreras who you were referencing, Kyle, when you said there was one other guy who you didn't name?
He was not.
No, I know exactly who Kyle's thinking of.
Let me see if I can figure out who that might be. I'm not going to name any names. I'm just trying to mentally guess. Okay, I have a guess. Oh, who was it?
Oh, did he not get drafted? Oh, that was cooler in my head. There it is.
Oh, okay. There's Sal Stewart. Yeah. Okay. So then let's talk some Sal Stewart for us. He's been a hot ticket item here for the winter drafters. He's been a big helium guy. And then, of course, when they made the move to get rid of Gavin Lux, he became, even hotter. So talk to us about Sal Stewart while I make my pick.
He was outrageous. He balled out at the end of last year. And I tend to lean with younger guys. If I see any sample in the majors, I lean very heavily into that. So seeing what he did for the Reds, which is also just, ideal home environment, but he had some of the best, we've broken out our power plus stat into gap power. So the ability to get singles, doubles, triples out of how hard you hit the ball, and then homer power, which is self-explanatory. And he had a top 10 homer power season of the last 4 or 5 years. The dude was just hitting balls hard at ideal launch angles, and this is coming from a guy who all through his minor leagues prospecting, the hit tool was all at worst it was solid. Like the hit tool was never in question. It was always like average to plus hit tool, solid to, maybe plus, not plus, but solid to plus power. And then for him to like come out and back the hit tool up and then just be like a tier or 2 tiers higher in game power against major league pitchers. And, it's not a huge sample that he had to work with. 58 plate appearances isn't a lot, but it was enough for our stats to kind of stabilize. And so like I believe in what the power looks like there. So I'm trying to buy Sal Stewart, especially we're at pick I don't know, like coming up on pick 200.
Yeah, we're around 16. This is a great spot to get him. Like you said, it's 190, pick 194 coming up right now. No problems paying that, because even with bust potential, he's not ruining your season at that point. You replace him, you move on, no big deal. And I think he's going to continue to go higher, though, and don't let him hit a few homers in spring. I think Sal Stewart will skyrocket at that point. Let me go ahead and make a pick here. Go ahead.
The guy has just wild pop. Like, it's going to play so well. Like, he's a guy where he's going to be on all of my teams, because I'm going to be...
Great park, too.
Yeah,
to leverage
that's
it.
the thing, is he'll hit anywhere, but also in his home games to be in like the premier homer park, it's just icing on the cake. It's gonna be so good. I can't like plant my flag enough on Sal Stewart. I love what they're doing, and Cincinnati is a sneaky good analytics organization.
Oh, good.
I know I've had some conversations with Nick Wan. He's their director of analytics, and he's really smart dude. They have an idea, like they have a game plan there. They don't fluke into Hunter Green, Chase Burns,
right,
Sal Stewart, Ellie. Like they have a process there. It's early phases, but like it's gonna be a good group there.
I was really on them last year, and they got off to a bad start. I was like, dang, they're still not ready for prime time. And then in the second half, they really started to show that, okay, it's coalescing here, and that offense runs deep. The pitching, like you said, the high upside talent that they have, they seem to have found something at closer with Pagan. I'm a little suspect on that still, because he did not fix his home run issue at all. So their bullpen still scares me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we'll see if he can still survive there. But the starters and the offense are really nice there in Cincinnati. As we continue on here, we go into the middle of the 17th round. Shane McClanahan, boy, I fell for their rosy news last year when they're like, oh, it's not going to be that much of an injury. How about a whole season? How about that? Nate Schwartz coming off a completely dead year. Obviously, you're not afraid to draft somebody doing that. But what are you expecting out of McClanahan coming off a 0?
I mean, I don't really know, and that's the great part of established guys around this point. There's no one that you can get like a Shane McClanahan, because that upside is immense. We really have no idea what that fastball velo is going to look like, really what he's going to be. But we know that, I think we can all probably say comfortably, that the Rays are probably going to take better care of him than the Angels might with a Grayson Rodriguez.
Yes.
And I want to take that chance. If it comes out to be a complete dud at this point, like, you can live with it. You're making replacements on the waiver wire immediately in season, and I'll take the chance that there is some upside that late.
Yeah, it's a fantastic gamble. I love Sugar Shane. I really hope he's ready to go. And of course, moving back to the Trop, we've already all kind of mentally bumped up all of the Tampa Bay pitchers getting to go there, and he'll never even have to worry about what Steinbrenner Field was like, because he didn't get to pitch there. As we continue on here in the 17th round, we got Scott Chu coming up. He's had an interesting run there, starting out with 8 hitters and then building his pitching pretty nicely. Wow, he took Trevor Story there in the 13th. I didn't realize he went that late. That's pretty darn late for what he did. I know people are concerned, can Trevor Story stay healthy again? But I'm not really concerned about the talent. I am worried about whether or not he can stay healthy, but I do think he'll be a fantasy stud if he can stay healthy. Do we have any Red Sox or Story lovers, whether you're a Red Sox fan or not, but do we have any Red Sox fans on the call? No.
Yeah, more or less. I grew up in Boston.
I was going to roast Red Sox fans. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I think I like Story a lot. I think there's extremes there. You're going to get streaks. I do think it's like, in this format too, with the shortstop's pretty deep, and when you get to him,
yes,
you probably already have a shortstop. We don't have a middle infielder, so then it's like, okay, as a util guy, he's still solid. But yeah, I think his bounce back last year. I think that's repeatable this year, but it's going to be streaky in these head-to-head leagues.
And that's a great point about the head-to-head streakiness of Story and the no MI, which is another thing that I wasn't thinking of when I talked about how late he went. That makes a lot more sense because shortstop is very deep. A lot of good ones to go around as Ben Palmer snipes me on Andrew Abbott. I'm still a little uncertain on him, but in the 18th round, I was looking at him with some rosy eyes over here, and I was pretty excited to try to get him. You take him at 18-2. It's a good pick there. What can Andrew Abbott do now for a follow-up after an establishing season last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of the same feeling in the 18th round. I can understand the skepticism, but, take a swing at him potentially being what he was last year. And, this late in the draft, it's kind of all about, those upside guys that, you can drop them within, the first, month of the season because you'll kind of know whether they're good or not. And so you might as well just, give it a shot. And, there's no harm, no foul. It's, it's your 18th round pick. No one ever shed a tear because they wasted their 18th round pick.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You get to a certain point in the draft where you are taking calculated gambles that yes, there's a pretty high chance that it blows up in my face, but the upside is what I'm chasing here, and I can afford
Cameron
it.
Too. I was really back and forth between Abbott and Cameron.
Cameron was my next one. So, all right. Well, we'll see what the rest of my queue gets sniped at. I was just going to take Abbott over Priester. I know I drafted Priester too high, but I just really like him, so I'm excited to see what he can do for a full year there, but I should have gone Abbott with that pick. Cole isn't going to be ready for opening day, right? That's why he went in the 18th round. But I mean, that's fine. I'm not roasting the pick. I'm just saying that's. I was making sure I heard that news properly.
He should be solid, but the season's gonna start late, so that's
which I don't mind. They're tough to draft.
I am always just so skeptical. I've been burned by the guys who are oh, they're healthy, they're gonna miss a week or two, and then that stretches into a month, 6 weeks, 2 months, and it's just
Kirby was another one I fell for last year. And I'm usually pretty good and pretty strident about saying double the timeline or add 25% at least. I'm usually really good about that, but I fell for it on both McClanahan and Kirby, probably because I liked both pitchers so much that I wanted to convince myself that they were going to be better than they were. You should always add to the timelines, folks. Just take the negative route, and if they happen to beat the timeline, then you're in a better off spot. All right, we're continuing here. Let's see. Sorry, I got 82 billion tabs open, and it keeps bumping back to the top, y'all. I'm trying to keep it scrolled down. If you're following along in chat, I'll do my best, but every time a new pick comes, it jumps back to the top. And then Nate Schwartz takes out to the top of my queue with Royce Lewis. Is this finally the year, Nate? I know it doesn't need to be at pick 18, as we've been talking about. These are gambles, but this is another super high upside gamble. Are you expecting just a partial season, or are you really, really thinking that maybe we get 500 plate appearances?
I'm expecting a partial season, but with what we saw kind of at the end of the year last year, I think there's just a real possibility that he comes out a little hot to start the year. Whether it completely flames out, I don't know.
We'll see. Yeah.
But I'll take that early chance. And in a 12-team league, I really like the late pulls because you can find that oatmeal guy you love in a 15 in a 12 that's going to put up fine ratios, not really move the needle, and you can replace him just fine. But if he works out, it's going to be well worth the cost here.
That is exactly right. Royce Lewis, it's not a huge shot, but he has a legitimate shot. I literally just put Shane Smith in my queue, and then he immediately left into the draft. Awesome.
I think the Royce Lewis thing, it's what we're saying about Royce Lewis is he's absurdly talented, but only if he's healthy. I mean, we said that about Byron Buxton for multiple years, and that did finally work out last year.
Finally did it, yep.
So,
and the thing is with
draft, why not,
The thing with Buxton forever is that we kept paying 6th round prices. We kept paying premiums on him. At least Royce Lewis is now giving you a real discount.
Yeah, and he was running all of a sudden at the end of last year.
Right.
Which, he wasn't running for a little while, so, who knows?
That would be amazing if he's doing that. I'm going to take a guy I really like. If he can stay healthy, Reese Olson for my Tigers. I still believe in him. This will be our last of the active round picks, and then we're getting into the reserves. You did have to fill your active roster first, folks, if you're following along in chat. We could not take reserves before. Oh, you didn't? I thought I got a Fantrax message that said I did. They lied to me.
Because I took Herrera and I still haven't filled my catcher.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, that's all right. It wouldn't have changed anything I drafted, but I thought I saw a message from Fantrax lying to me blatantly.
They were just handicapping you so that we
That's
could have
fair.
a chance.
That's fair.
Yeah.
No. Like if Paul thinks this, then you guys can draft however you want. All right, this will be the 18th pick here for Tucker, and then, like I said, I'm gonna be looking at my first reserve here. Boy, things are thin, even in a 12-teamer. Oh, Joe Musgrove, I do like him on a bounce back. Obviously, health. Why would I do that to you, Scott Chu? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, fellow Tigers fan, sniping each other.
Yeah, the
Wait,
pitchers
who's the other
definitely-
Orioles fan in this chat? Sorry,
It's
someone
me,
said that earlier.
Patrick. Yeah, I'm an Orioles fan.
What's up,
too.
Patrick? Love to
How
have
you
another Orioles fan.
Yeah, man. Hopefully this year a little better than last year.
I like y'all's chances to improve. I think again, really strong
last year
offseason
was-
in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Mike Elias realized he was kind of on the hot seat. Like last year didn't work out, and I don't think ownership was going to stick around with him.
No.
He decided to like goof around
Speak-
again.
You made a joke that like Fantrax wanted to handicap me. That's what he wanted to do to himself. He's like, let me play with one hand tied behind my back and show that I can do it. Just spend the money that they're
So-
willing to spend.
Can't do that.
Supposedly,
man.
what I had heard from somebody
Melt.
who had knowledge of the front office, they had said that Elias wanted to build the Orioles to be like the antithesis of the Yankees, being like, we don't have to spend, we can build from within.
Oh my God, that's so
and
arrogant.
build a team the right way and do
The
it,
right way.
do it the right way. We don't have
We can
to-
exploit
don't
the
have
young
to-
talent. We don't want to
Right.
pay these people.
Exactly.
Maybe
exactly.
it should extend
And that's-
more than like one player then, if that's what they're gonna do it. We
Right.
got Basayo, which is nice, but a long way to go.
Yeah, you might want to start keeping some of these guys that all look the same. They got those 5 guys that kind of look exactly the same, you know.
I'm
know that.
hopeful that. Go ahead.
No. I'll let the Orioles fan speak. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying I'm hopeful that the fact that they signed Alonso to such a big contract, I mean the biggest contract they've offered anyone since Chris Davis. I think they were afraid of these big long contracts ever since Chris Davis just absolutely blew up and continues
Right.
to blow up in their face, and will blow up in their face for roughly the next 15 years.
That's crazy.
But he's getting it's a Bobby Bonilla contract. He's getting paid
Right.
forever. It's crazy.
Good for him.
But yeah. Hey, you know what? Good for him, especially with all the mental anguish that he went through.
Right.
and
Taking his
the fact that
therapeutic
MLB
use
screwed
exemption
him over.
away. Right.
I mean, I think his struggles were because MLB screwed him over by making him change his ADHD medication. But
Completely agree with that. I think that is entirely to
I just-
explain for his meltdown.
absolutely, and I just keep thinking of. I always think about the Sports Illustrated profile where they talk about him just like sitting in his kitchen, like in tears, like he just could not figure out why he was so bad all of a sudden. He felt guilty about it, and Orioles fans didn't treat him well. But anyways, I could do a 2-hour podcast on Chris Davis.
I am completely with you
anyways,
in terms
I'm
of feeling for
hopeful-
him.
Yes. Yeah, I'm hopeful that they feel like, okay, maybe we can spend some money. Extension's going to be hard for someone like Gunnar because of Boris. But,
Right.
I'm hopeful that they're willing to do that.
You got to at least try. You got to come to the table with them, try to keep that core because, yeah, they've got something really special. And as we're talking the Orioles, Rutschman goes. And since we are talking them, I will ask, what does he do for a bounce back? Was his just playing through injury and getting injured as well, like missing time due to injury for Rutschman? Or do we have real concerns with him, Ben? And Patrick, you can chime in after that.
Paul, your draft board's frozen.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me fix that.
That's why I timed out. I'm like looking at this. It's not my pick yet.
I'm sorry about that.
Why are you
know how that
looking at the
happened.
screen to draft from?
You don't want to know.
There we go.
You know, I'm playing.
Also,
I'm playing Pokemon Go right here.
Ben, this is
You
also
anything
the first full off season since a certain article about the Orioles front office
Yeah.
came out. Did you
Oh,
think
yeah.
about that?
Yeah,
that you might have.
that was.
That this might literally
I
be
don't
your
think I
doing.
had any.
It's your impact.
Yeah, dude.
Look,
This is
I mean,
all
look,
you.
I would never flatter myself. It was.
It made some waves, though.
It did. A lot of really nasty waves came my way, but it was.
I can imagine.
It was. I mean, it was crazy. It was like fun to do. I would never flatter myself to think I had any effect on the Orioles front office. I think what the effect was the team just sucking terribly,
Right.
and all of Elias's choices just totally blowing up in his face. But to your previous question about Rutschman. As I make another homer pick here with Dylan Beavers.
Nice.
Rutschman, I think Rutschman has been so bad since like July of 2024. Like he's just
it has been
terrible.
a while.
It's been so bad, but I believe that he is a smart enough hitter to make adjustments, and he's going to be in a great lineup. So I'm hopeful that he can figure this out.
Me too. I really am. I just really like Rutschman, and I know like some of the easy comps just because they were switch hitting catchers, both college studs, was to Matt Wieters, and no one wanted him to follow the full Matt Wieters trajectory of like becoming mediocre, and unfortunately he kind of is following it to a T, and I hope he can kind of break free and have a few more stud seasons. Ooh, I see. Ben Pernick just took Matt McClain. I think I'm buying back in on him at least one more year. Pick 20. I mean, he's cheap enough. He was a disaster last year, but I really do think Matt McClain, we were talking about how much we like Cincinnati as an org. I know, Kyle, you and I were talking about that. Again, I think they got something here with him, and I hope that he can stay healthy. I think Matt McClain can bounce back with Cincinnati this year. It's not necessarily a direct question to you, Kyle, just referencing when we were talking about Cincy.
Yeah, I mean, they're always going to be defensible if you're drafting their hitters. It is such an impact that like I could talk myself into, oh well, you have a starting role in Cincinnati, you're probably a rosterable hitter. Like I'm never gonna be mad at it, and like we're the 20th round. Second base, like at this point of the draft, is just
Nothing.
a dumpster fire full of darts that were thrown. Like it's just a mess. Like so, maybe it could pop. Especially, I like pairing earlier in the draft. Ben had picked Keyshaw, and so like that's a small sample guy who like if he hits, you just axe McClain and move on.
Exactly.
But like McClain is kind of like, well, okay, I'll get 2 dice rolls here, and if I get 1 starting second baseman, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I do like. I didn't realize that Ben had put Keyshaw there first. So you're, like you said, 2 dice rolls at high-end prospect talent. Let's see what they can do. Hopefully I get 1, and maybe he gets 2, and then he has, a tough choice where he's like, I got both these guys I could start each week, and then he can kind of maneuver it that way. It's my pick here. Let me go ahead and do that. And I'll take an old second baseman that no one's going to care about, but I still like Marcus Semien. Again,
Good
just
reserve list.
Yeah, just give a little.
We haven't because we haven't picked a second baseman yet, so some of us do care about that pick.
Man,
What Anthony Tucker says, snipe me. He's already got 2 second basemen.
I sniped him with that second base pick. Well, it's payback for Melton, which I really liked his pick there. I love Troy Melton. I don't think he's going to start the season in the rotation, which is fine because I don't think he can make it the full year anyway. But I think he'll be somebody that like Memorial Day through the rest of the year could be an absolute monster for my Tigers. I am a Tigers fan. For whoever doesn't know, just so that bias is on the table. But I think Troy Melton is a dude. Ooh, Reed Detmers, Kyle, man, after my own heart. I can't quit that MF. I still love him.
Yeah. I'm here. I'll take that dart throw every year,
Same.
until he inevitably explodes, and then I'll sadly drop him. But
and then he'll go on a run, and I'll pick him back up, and then he'll get cold again. That'll be our dance. We like to do our little dance every year.
He just rated like he annihilated our metrics. Like he was second overall of all pitchers in PLV last year. Like, so it's like everything's fully backed up. The 16% swinging strike, 30% K rate. Like he didn't get hit that hard. The ERA, you see that ERA and whip, and you're like, how does that happen though?
Right.
Well, he was below average, and he hit a 340 BABIP, which I don't think is fully backed up by like the batted ball results that he was giving up. Like it was just a confluence of events that really worked against him, but allows me to draft him in the 20th round.
Yeah, exactly. It's building in our discount to stay with him. Sure, it would be cool if they got rid of him in Anaheim so that he could go to a better org, but I'll still stick with him there because the raw skills, even Angels should be able to get something out of him, so I'm sticking with him too. Great pick. As you make your 21st pick here coming up, that was 4 pitchers in a row. Now 5th with Clay Holmes, and I'll stick with you, Kyle. I know we've been talking a lot, but like that's another really compelling pick. I feel like he panned out last year, right? Like it wasn't some breakout win your league type of season. It was a pretty good transition from reliever to starter. What does year 2 look like? Is there more in the tank for Clay Holmes, or does he remain like a low strikeout, solid like innings guy that you can spot start?
I mean, I hope that he can kind of come back. Like, yeah, he basically paid off your investment. I know he started getting a lot of hype, but I think he was a functional starting pitcher. 3.5 ERA. The strikeouts weren't there, so that's tough. But like he was useful.
Double-digit dubs, which matters in a lot of leagues.
Mets are gonna be good. Even they somehow missed the playoffs, but maybe next year's the year. It's always next year's the year. But I think it's like I still buy into like he locates his pitches really well. If he can kind of get some of the stuff, like he lost a ton of stuff, like by whatever model you're looking at. And so the hope is he can get some of that back. He's got a more diverse mix. I like the kick change. Like I think it's functional. It's like it's not a minus pitch, and so just even getting another league average pitch to throw against hitters, especially something like that for a ground ball artist like him, so he can get even ground ballier, which is absolutely a word. Like
we'll take that.
Yeah.
And then do you like the Semien pickup? I think he's somebody who could benefit from that because Semien's defense is pretty sharp. I know one guy alone can't change it, but it's not like Lindor's bad. So up the middle is pretty good defensively, I would think, too. That should help with Clay Holmes.
Yeah, I mean, definitely like up the middle should be good. Even they're probably going to put Bichette at third, and like he was a little suspect at short, but like he might be like useful, like not bad at third. And so
yeah, I think so.
Starting to add up these like, okay, this infield defense is good. Even Juan Soto is an adventure, but they just added Luis Robert Jr., who's like when he's healthy is a legitimately good center fielder, and so. Yes. They should have like a really solid kind of defensive core. Francisco Alvarez has shown flashes of being a good receiver too. That like I think like Clay Holmes, for a guy who's so reliant on putting things into play, it's we have Logan Webb at home kind of idea.
That's a good way to put it. And yeah, it's just so much cheaper. I do think there is a little bit of upside here, and you're not usually going to be thinking of Clay Holmes, an old guy who just transitioned to starting, as having upside. But I do think there is a path. You'll take more of the same at pick 21, but you could be getting a decent bit more. Nate Schwartz, I know your pick's coming up, but you took Cody Ponce. Oh, another compelling one. I'll ask you about that in a second too. But the JJ Weatherholt pick before that, Nate, I like that. What would you ballpark very loosely right now here on January 30th his chances of making the roster day one are for JJ Weatherholt?
As a Cardinals fan who has been all too caught up in the Brendan Donovan trade saga, I think it really hinges on that.
It's funny because I was going to ask Patrick, do you want a Brendan Donovan trade with that pick or not? So that kind of goes together there with your pick.
Yeah, but I think the reporting has been that he's, going to get given every opportunity to make the MLB roster out of camp.
Okay.
And the Cardinals have ended up being pretty aggressive with that. Every guy who's started to get that opportunity more often than not has gotten it. Has it worked out? Don't ask me any questions.
But they try, right? And that's all you can do is try. Like it's not their fault. Well, I mean, it's some of their fault that Jordan Walker didn't work out, but it's like it's not for a lack of chance, which happens in places like Tampa Bay sometimes where they just slow roast a guy in the minors. St. Louis at least gives them an opportunity.
Exactly. And Weatherholt is the kind of profile where you'll know if it works pretty quickly.
Yes,
like,
I agree.
I think that potential off the bat is 270, 15, maybe even 20 homers. And like, I'll take that. The other thing with the Cardinals I'm watching is if Ivan Herrera is healthy enough to get a spot behind the plate consistently, that opens up the DH role to move a Nolan Gorman there. So even if Donovan gets traded, there is still an avenue for him to make the MLB roster without forcing someone out, really. So I I really like it this late.
Yeah, it's a great pickup, JJ Weatherholt. And if, as the news goes, if he continues, or if he starts with a good spring and starts playing well in spring training games, that price is going to skyrocket. It will not stair step, folks. It'll go from round 21 to like round 10. And then if he makes the team, it'll be round 7. Like, it will go very fast if JJ Weatherholt makes it. And like I said, your next pick right after that, Nate, was really compelling to me as well. Cody Ponce coming back over from the KBO. We've seen these guys come back over. They don't all work out. They're all usually better than they were when they left, but they're not all necessarily fantasy relevant. Ponce is looking like somebody who could be, though. Talk to us about Cody Ponce coming over from the KBO to be with Toronto now.
Yeah, I think the big thing is does the velo increase stay, and what does that fastball look like? I know the big thing was that the vert on the fastball and the velo both jumped pretty significantly, and I think his curveball got a pretty big boost as well with the ball in the KBO. So really being able to see how much it lasts. I know you took Imai earlier.
Yes.
And I think we really want to see early on in spring training what those readings look like, and I think we'll be able to ballpark pretty quickly. What are these guys' profile going to be? But as a late pick, I'll chase that upside of kind of going into the unknown.
That's exactly it, and it is a price point situation here. And Cody Ponce, I don't really see him skyrocketing. Again, a good spring, I think, will move him up, but I don't think he'll ever be cost prohibitive to where I wouldn't be interested, even if that spring helium started to explode. We are in our final round here, folks, round 23 of what's been a brisk, very fun draft. Appreciate all y'all hanging out both in the chat and both on video with me as well, talking through these picks. Patrick, you just finished up with a couple of interesting pitchers who are really looking to make more out of their 2026 than we saw in 2025 with Bailey Ober and Sean Manaea. Ober was a guy I loved pretty much throughout his entire Major League tenure so far. I will say I'm jumping off the train a little bit quickly at the first sign of trouble, only because the velo is so low with that home run issue that I'm worried about calling it back. But if it was just injury, maybe it won't be so difficult. What do you see from Ober this year after last year's struggles?
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head with the velo being the thing that we need to pay attention to. Like, I try not to read too much into spring training, but if he's starting and it's a StatCast game, I'm definitely going to be looking at, what is his velo looking like, because
right.
it is a thin line for him. So yeah, those two guys just definitely going with the buy low type approach at the end of the draft there.
Yeah, Manaea as your last pick, a guy that we just saw 2 years ago be awesome. We know he's volatile, and we saw the volatility of the opposite end of it last year. Why not take a shot? So yeah, I definitely like that pick there. As we get through here to the middle, we got Francisco Alvarez, and that just goes to my point earlier about how deep catcher is in a one catcher situation. I held out as long as I could. I took Drake Baldwin in the 15th, but a last round Francisco Alvarez is a pretty nice pick. Is that your only catcher there, Nate? Yeah, that was.
I took Herrera.
Oh, you took Herrera.
Yeah, I just needed to fill the position.
That's right. Yeah, he'll become catcher eventually. We don't know exactly what sort of volume he's going to get, but they did say he's going to play. And you said you're a Cardinals fan, so what are you expecting there in terms of a lot of leagues are 10-game eligibility? Do you have a ballpark of when you think that's going to click for Herrera? Is that going to take a month? Is that going to take, half the season?
I think they're going to see really early what the defense looks like, or rather the throws down to second.
So we're looking at arm mostly with Herrera. Okay.
It looked atrocious. Oh my goodness, I'm losing it a little bit here.
It's been a long day. We're almost on hour 12
almost
here for
an hour
PitchCon.
12 here. I had the approach angle PitchCon debut earlier today. I'm losing it, but
a lot of talking.
Word count.
Yeah, but I think he has a lot to prove. But I don't think the Cardinals are going to hold him back because he's been in the bigs for a little bit. They don't want to continue to slow walk him at this point in his career. And if he's good to go, I could see it in April.
And his bat absolutely cooks. And so, yeah, when we were doing our catcher preview, I had not seen the news that they were going to let him start catching. I'm like, that's huge because that adds to the already deep catching position with Herrera where you can draft him as a util knowing that he's going to transition into catcher eventually. Luis Gil for Scott Chu, not a bad last pick there. And then Colton Cowser, a guy I love. And, Ben Palmer has admitted that he's a Baltimore homer. But, hey, when your team's good, it's fun to be a homer. As a Tigers fan, right, as a Detroit fan in general, I literally made 2 fantasy football Super Bowls just drafting all Lions. Unfortunately, they choked for me in the Super Bowl, so it eventually burned me. But it is nice to be able to be a homer when your team's pretty good, right, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, also worth mentioning that, it came out that Cowser was playing through 2 fractured ribs last year, so...
Oh wow!
You know,
So if
that,
he's healthy, I mean,
yeah, if he's healthy, he could be kind of what we saw a couple years ago. I mean, still fairly young, plenty of potential there. So for a last pick, you could do a lot worse. And he's going to play every day in center field.
absolutely, he's got great talent defensively. I still really like Kauser, even if he's just a strong side platoon type of guy that you have to maybe sit occasionally against lefties. Josh Lowe as the final pick, John. I really do like that, so much so that when I took Brenton Doyle, I actually looked at Josh Lowe as well, which was 4 rounds ago. So I really like your last pick there. Going out to the Angels, he'll probably be free and clear for playing time. What do we think Josh Lowe can do this year? Can he have like a re-breakout, a rebirth, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, all the tools are there, and I feel like in a daily league, he's as close to an auto bench as you can get when it comes to facing lefties. So, like,
Right.
you know exactly where to deploy him, and like the Angels are so desperate for warm bodies that he'll get plenty of playing time. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like his move out there because he won't be messed with as much. One of the things, if you're going to draft Rays, folks, is you have to be a fantasy manager who's okay with uncertainty because they're going to mess things around. With the Angels, with somebody like Lowe, I think they're just going to set it and forget it with him, and you can take him out against lefties